All right, you all, we have some wild ass astrology going on in 2025, so get ready. We have two signs who are really headlining the energies this year. And those are the signs of Pisces and the signs of Aries. And it's really interesting that 2025 breaks down to a 9-year numerologically, because 9 is the energy of both endings and beginnings, completions, and then the birthing as something completes and something new is initiated. And these two signs represent those energies. Aries being that first sign in the zodiac, that initiating force, that cardinal fire energy that gets things started. And Pisces being that 12th sign in the zodiac, ruling that 12th house, that beautiful Neptunian energy. It is the ending. It is where everything comes together, everything coalesces and returns to source, so to speak. So really we have the alpha and the omega when we are looking at these energies of Pisces and Aries here, which is really, really cool considering that this is, like we said, that 9-year. So this year is very much about what we are completing, what we are closing out, and what it is that we are stepping into. 2024 was our quantum leap year. We leaped through timelines, through consciousness, and now we are calibrating and we are aligning with that highest timeline. And as we move through 2025, we are going to be continuing to release and let go of what is no longer in alignment with us and move more powerfully into what is. Now, something really interesting here, as we have all of these major planets such as Neptune, who is the ruler of Pisces, and Saturn moving out of Pisces and closing out these transits. Neptune's been in Pisces since 2011, and Saturn has been in Pisces since, now I can't remember. When Saturn, it's been a few years for Saturn. All right, so that Saturn isn't as big of a cycle as Neptune. Neptune's been in there since 2011. All right, so we have these major planets closing out these big transits within the sign of Pisces. So there's a lot of that finishing, that completion energy as these planets, both Neptune and Saturn, move into Aries during 2025 and then retrograde back into Pisces to have that final sweep of energy, so to speak. But while a lot of this Pisces energy is closing out, we have the North Node, which has moved into the sign of Pisces, out of the sign of Aries. So here we see kind of the opposite energy, a planet that's been activated by that Aries energy and is now falling back into the Pisces energy. As the nodes actually move retrograde, they are approximated points in space that have to do with the elliptical orbit of the moon and the earth, where the moon's orbit intersects with the earth's orbit, essentially. We don't need to get too into the technicalities of it all, except to know and understand that these are approximated points at space, points that deal with destiny and fate. They also deal with karma, where we've been with that south node and where we're going with that north node. So we're closing out these really lengthy, particularly when we're looking at Neptune here in that cycle since 2011, cycles. And that Saturn cycle has only been a few years, but it's been intense because Saturn cycles are always intense, all right? So it's probably felt like it's been going on for about 10, 20 years, even though it's only been a few years. And I apologize that I don't have the exact date that Saturn went into Pisces ready for you. There's always like one date that I forget to write down. And unlike some astrologers, all this information doesn't always stay in my mind. But yeah, like we said, it's been a few years for that. It's felt a lot longer because of the heaviness of Saturn, because of the lessons because of the energy that Saturn brings. But Saturn in a sign like Pisces is really cleaning house. This is all about those old soul contracts, these old soul cycles, these karmic cycles that we are ready to close out, that we are ready to release. And understanding as well, when we're working with these cycles of any planets moving through Pisces, when a planet gets to Pisces, it's the 12th sign in the zodiac. So that means that that planet has already moved through the first 11 signs. So there is a larger cycle for each planet that begins when that planet enters Aries and completes when that planet enters Aries again. And Pisces is the final point within that grander planetary cycle. So for Neptune, this is really big. Neptune has not been in Aries since the 1860s, all right? So that's how long this cycle of Neptune has been. Neptune is a very slow mover through the zodiac. It's something like 167 years on average that it takes Neptune to move through the zodiac. So that's the cycle that Neptune is completing right now as it graduates to this next leg of its journey, so to speak, when it moves into Aries on the 30th of March. And like we said, it's going to retrograde back just as Saturn is in the second half of this year. So there's going to be a back and forth kind of flux here that we're going to talk about in a minute. Now, Saturn was last in Aries in 1998. So this is a cycle that we can work with a little more. You can think back to 1998 and you can look at particularly how it is that you have grown and matured, because that is what Saturnian energy represents. And now we got a brand new cycle coming in with this energy when Saturn enters that sign of Aries. So this is major new beginnings, major initiations. We have a whole bunch of other planets and a whole bunch of other intensity going on. We have a Mercury retrograde in Aries toward the beginning of the year. So many times where we're going to be seeing the planets moving into these energies, out of those Pisces energies, into the Aries energies. And with this North Node actually moving the opposite way from Aries into Pisces, there's sort of like a switching of gears here in a sense where it's like, we're clearing out the lower vibrational, so to speak, energies of Pisces. This is escapism. This is addiction. This is victimhood. This is powerlessness. And we are bringing in with that North Node energy, we're calling in the higher version of Pisces, which is spiritual interconnectedness. It is the oneness principle. It is seeing and viewing everybody as an emanation of source energy. It's seeing everything from that higher spiritual perspective and bringing that perspective into our everyday lives. That's what the North Node is calling us to do, to align with our soul's path, to align with our higher self's will. And that Aries energy is here to help us to get shit done. Once we're aligned with that will, we have that North Node in Pisces guiding us toward aligning us with our calling, with our true north. That Aries energy is the energy that gives us the kick in the ass to go and do the thing, the courage, the confidence to move forward, to walk through our fear. This year is all about aligning with our highest self, our highest truth, and having the courage to walk through our fears to get to where we know we're meant to be going.